Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to another session of Travel with BAM. I'm Brenda McMillan, your host, and travel consultant with BAM One Travel. We like to give you information about services, products, and just plain tips that you can use while traveling. And today, I'm very excited. We have Susanna Zarayski, and she, what hasn't she done? She speaks 7 languages. She's the author of 2 books. She's a world traveler. She's lived in 9 countries and visited 50 nations. So, Susanna, we know that you know all about travel and budget travel and how to pack and how to unpack and all those good things. So first, let me say welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be on the show.
Yes, we're excited to have you here because we all, with the economy being like it is, we all need to know about budget travel or how to save money and different things like that. So let me get right into the questions and ask you, because, you know, if you've done all this stuff, certainly you know one of the things I'm sure you know is how to pack. So what are some of your favorite packing tips?
One of the best things, I think, is to go to the Container Store. I was just there yesterday with my cousin who's visiting from Russia, and I was showing her the little containers you can buy for like $1 or $2 that are a maximum of 3 ounces or 100 milliliters, so you can pour in your liquids. So if you don't want to check in a bag and you're only going to take bags on the airplane, you can't take liquids that are more than 100 milliliters or 3 ounces. So, you know, you don't want to take a whole big thing of shampoo and conditioner. So you pour it into one of these little things. Because now when you check in baggage, sometimes you have to pay $25 or more per bag. So you want to take as few things as possible. What I also like are the vacuum bags, and those are a couple dollars a bag. They're these plastic bags that you put in your clothes, and then you tightly roll the bags to get the air out, and then you close them with this like Ziploc thing.
So they do work then. They do. I've seen them advertised, but I didn't know if they really worked.
Yeah, they're great. They're really great. I've used them, and it's really good if you're traveling in the winter and you have like bulky sweaters or things like that, because sweaters take up a lot of space. So you put them in this bag and you get out the air. It's also really good if you're going to the beach and your clothes haven't dried yet, but you need to move, and you don't want to put them in a plastic bag because then your whole bag is going to stink like mold.
Right.
You put them in there, and they keep because they're vacuum packed, the air that, you know, you don't have moldy air circulating through all of your stuff. Wow. That's a really good thing. Another thing also to remember, especially if you're traveling in the winter, is to, let's say you're traveling on an airplane, to bring your sweaters and your jackets, wear those instead of putting them in your bag, because they take up a lot of space in your bag. Right. And it gets cold on the airplane. You might actually need to wear your sweater at some point.
Need to wear it, exactly. And that's a good tip for me because I plan to go to Alaska. I've never been, and I'm going on a cruise in September, and it's probably going to be cool because, you know, like I told you before the show, I don't like cold weather. So I want to make sure that I have what I need, especially if we're going to see glaciers or whatever the case may be, or going to do some excursions. So those are some good ideas that I can use, like wearing the jacket and different things like that, because I do want to make sure I have enough, you know, enough on, but I don't want to let it take up a lot of space in my suitcase, because like you said, $25, $30 per bag now. You really have to pack smart, smart. So that's great. Now, so I know that you found some things, some untold things that you can clue us in on that you have discovered that will save you money while traveling. Can you share some of those with us?
Sure. One of the things that, I don't know how I found out, if someone pointed it out to me or if I started reading the small print, but I was traveling in Europe and I had a type of Euro pass, different brands, but most of them have this rule, which most people never tell you about, that if you would take a train after 1900 hours, after 7 p.m., it counts for the next day's travel. So let's say tonight at 7 p.m. you take a train from Paris to Milan, and you get to Milan in the morning, you do your thing. Let's say there's only one thing you want to do in Milan. I don't know why, but let's say there's just one thing you want to do. You can go do that thing and then get on a train before 7 p.m. tomorrow, and it still counts in the same day of travel.
Oh,
you see what I mean? So if you know that there's a place where, let's say, you're just meeting a person for lunch, or there's one museum you want to see, you're not going to spend the whole day, you plan out your travel so that you could actually combine 2 trips onto one day. because it goes 24 hours from 7 p.m. the night before to 7 p.m. the next day. So that way you can take an overnight train. So that's one of those things that really, it takes thinking. You know, you have to plan out where you're going and, you know, realize where you can use your days. Something else that I discovered also as I was traveling and learning was about frequent flyer mile programs. And, you know, with a lot of the frequent flyer mile programs, they give you this bonus offer, you know, sign up for a credit card, you get 20,000 bonus miles, 25,000 bonus miles. And they say that they won't give you those bonus miles year after year. Like if you close a credit card and open up another one, well, I've done that. And they almost always still give me the bonuses, even though they say they won't. So I only recommend that to people who have good credit histories and who aren't going to be using these multiple credit cards to, you know, rack up credit card debt and get them bankrupt. So that's only if you can be responsible with your money and you're not worried about getting few points taken off your credit history for opening and closing credit cards.
Right.
But something I think people should really concentrate on when they're buying tickets is that sometimes it might be $25 cheaper to buy in a different airline, but loyalty to the same airline can actually be really important because you keep on getting frequent flyer miles on that one airline. So if it's not too much more expensive to buy a ticket on the same airline which you've been flying before, try to stick to one airline. It'll pay off in the end. Yeah.
Right. With the frequent miles and things like that, because you can always get discounts and different things like that, and even shop sometimes with different, you know, with different points. So that's great. That is great.
Yeah.
So now you have been, let's say, all over the world. There are probably not a whole lot of places that you have not been. What is it about travel that benefits you personally, and how does it make you feel, or how does it make you grow as a person by doing all this traveling?
Well, I definitely have grown a lot by traveling, and I think sometimes it's just who you end up talking to on the train or the random interactions you have with people. And I think that, you know, a lot of times, unfortunately, in the United States, we have a very low percentage of people who travel outside the United States, who even have a passport. And so many people, if they watch the news at all, and they may be only getting it from a few news sources, whether it's CNN, Fox News, or if they listen to NPR or whatever, that's still filtered. You really don't know what's going on in the world if all you do is watch the 5 o'clock news. You're lucky if you see anything on the world news in the United States. So the fact of traveling, it makes you see things first person. You get to talk to people. You may be sitting in the airport lounge in another country and you see their news, and you'll see things from a different perspective. So it's given me the opportunity to become a global citizen by actually being able to understand situations from a different perspective. And to see, for example, that what we might think of as a way of dress in the United States as being bad for whatever reason. In another country, that's just the way they dress. It doesn't mean anything necessarily. So it's that, I think there's so much value of getting outside of your element that most people don't realize.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure of that because, like you said, there's so much censorship, and you don't know until you go and actually experience the place and the people and see for yourself firsthand what's really going on instead of just what they want you to know. So now